Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Garage Talks with Yasir. I hope you guys have been having a great week and looking forward to week 2 of the NFL season. What games we had last week, it was phenomenal, especially that Monday night game with the Raiders and the Ravens. So let's get to it. Episode 7, week 2 NFL. We're going to be going ahead and looking over all the games, giving our picks. Let's have some fun. Hey everyone, just a quick message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And let me explain. First and foremost, it's free. And they're creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer or your iPad. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on many platforms, especially the most popular ones like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more across listening platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need in a podcast in one place. Believe me, I have used Anchor over the years for all my podcasts, and it's definitely one of the best platforms to use. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Alright, so we'll begin the week 2 predictions with Bengals in Chicago. Bengals are coming off a phenomenal victory against the Vikings, while the Bears fell short of winning their first game. We did see flashes of Justin Fields in the first game, so that's going to be a thing to look forward to. While the Bengals look great with Joe Burrow seeming like he's completely healed off of his injury. So in this game, we are going with the underdog, which are the Cincinnati Bengals at plus 1.5. We think that should be a good score. So next game that we have on the schedule is the Texans and the Browns. The Browns played a phenomenal game against the Chiefs, while the Texans surprised everybody with their first game where they routed the team, and Brandon Cooks and Mark Ingram had big games, and all running backs for the Texans scored a touchdown. Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb were phenomenal against the Kansas City Chiefs. So in this game, we're going with the Texans to cover the spread. I do believe 13.5 is a huge spread. And we also would like to go with the over 48 points. The next game is going to be the Los Angeles Rams versus the Indianapolis Colts. We saw the Seahawks last week routed the Colts. They did not look too good, and I don't think Carson Wentz is to blame. It's just a lot of injuries on their front offensive line, and it's definitely going to be a challenge for them with 3-time Defensive Player of the Year Aaron Donald coming in, and the Rams having one of the best interior lineups. Also, credit to Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense, who look like they put together a great offseason with that Rams trade for Jared Goff getting Matthew Stafford. So this game we are going with the Rams at minus 3.5, and we are also taking over 48 for this game. Next game we got is Buffalo against the Dolphins. Surprisingly, Buffalo comes in after losing that game to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which was a super defensive game. A lot of internal mistakes with the special teams, and Josh Allen, I think, was very, very careful with the ball. He didn't play too freely, while on the Miami side, Tua Tagovailoa did have an interception, but overall he took care of the ball, threw for about 200 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Parker is looking like a 1,000-yard receiving wide receiver with the first game.
But again, both of these teams surprisingly did opposite of what they were supposed to. Miami beat the Patriots. Buffalo loses to Steelers. So this game we're going with -3.5 for Buffalo. The next game is New England Patriots against the New York Jets. We're going to go ahead and take Patriots -6, and we will take under 43 for this game. There's a lot of injuries, a few questionable people going in, like Jamison Crowder is special for the Jets, while Jonnu Smith, the tight end, is also questionable. I do see both of the quarterbacks struggling, both of the rookies, Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. I do believe that they will be struggling, so I would take unders for this game. And I am not going to pick, I don't know who's going to win this game, but I'm definitely sliding towards the unders. For me, one of the game of the week is the 49ers versus Eagles. Jimmy G and the offense looked phenomenal in week 1. But again, they played the Lions, who almost pull off the upset. So they definitely need to answer some questions on defense. 49ers play Eagles. Philadelphia looked phenomenal against the Falcons. The defense was doing their job. The offense was running all fire, with Devontae Smith getting a touchdown in his rookie game, in his debut game. Jalen Hurts was good throwing the ball, running the ball, and Miles Sanders was a perfect back to Jalen Hurts. So this is going to be a very interesting game. I can definitely see a lot of passing in this game, and I think San Francisco is going to have their hands full with a dual quarterback who's not just a great runner, but he's phenomenal with the ball. But I'm going with the favorite 49ers to take this game. Next game is the Steelers versus the Raiders. Both teams pulled off surprising wins. One looked better than the other, but for Raiders, offense looked amazing against the Ravens. Sorry for that, it's just a lot of R's. But I think Darren Waller, everybody knows he's the key to the Raiders offense. You stop him, you can pretty much shut this thing down. And from what we're reading, Josh Jacobs is out for this game. So that's going to be a big loss for the running game. While I can see Ben Roethlisberger, Najee Harris, Juju, and Claypool having a phenomenal offensive game. And just like last week, I think it's going to be a shootout. So I would take Pittsburgh -6, and I would definitely take the overs. The next game that I see is Saints and Panthers. I think this should be an easy route for the Saints compared to how they put up their phenomenal performance last week against the Packers. I will take overs for this game, and I will take Saints money line. I'm still a little iffy about Jameis Winston, but I definitely believe in Alvin Kamara, who's looking like the best running back in the game right now. He's definitely up there, if not, he's definitely top 2, top 3, if not the best running back in the game. Christian McCaffrey was a welcome sight last week, put up 98 yards on 21 carries, while also had 9 receptions for 89 yards. So that's pretty phenomenal. We know he's one of the best two-way players in the game. He is the offense, so it's simple as this for both of these teams. You shut out their running backs, you got a dog matchup. So whoever shuts down the running back, the other team wins. I am picking the New Orleans Saints. And the last noon game that we have is the Denver Broncos against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We saw that, one of the most dominant pass rushes back in the league with Von Miller and Chubb. They have done wonders, at least in the first game. They totally shut down. Teddy Bridgewater put a phenomenal performance together. Melvin Gordon had 11 touches for 101 yards, including a huge run that got him the touchdown. Trevor Lawrence did look like a rookie. against the Texans. I think he has a bright receiving corp, especially GJ Chark. I think the ball needs to go to him more. He only had 3 receptions in the first game. So in this game, I am picking Jacksonville +6 to cover, and I'm going with unders. And now let's talk about the few evening games we had. I don't have a lot to say. It's Minnesota versus Arizona. Kyle Murray's been amazing. I think their only weakness is the backfield. We know Kirk Cousins likes throwing that ball. You know, both teams have elite wide receiving corps, but I am going with Arizona money line and the spread, whichever you like. I think Arizona is going to rout them by at least 10 points. Falcons and Buccaneers, this could be a rivalry maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but now with Tom Brady in Tampa and the way they won that first game, I think Tampa is going to go ahead and cover that 12.5 spread. This game is definitely going under 51.5 because I think they're going to shut down Matt Ryan in that offense. You know, Falcons need to figure out what to do with Matt Ryan. They need to start building towards the future, at least as of what Week 1 showed. I think also the ball needs to go way more towards Kyle Pitts than it did in the first game. He is your offense. Calvin Ridley, a lot of people thought he's a wide receiver #1 this year. I was absolutely against that. I think a lot of times we forget that teams that have these superstar wide receivers, the second one thrives. For example, Juju was thriving when AB was in Pittsburgh. Calvin Ridley was thriving when Julio was here. So I don't think Calvin Ridley can be a great #1 receiver for this team. But I do think that he is a good player. So back to the results, I am going with Tampa Bay and unders. We have Titans versus the Seattle Seahawks. I am going with Tennessee money line, Tennessee spread. I think the whole controversy with Julio and Mike Vrabel taking some shots at each other, I think that was just something that should have been done behind closed doors. I think we see Derrick Henry being elite once again. Tennessee has a much better defense, so Russell Wilson will not be throwing that ball down to Tyler Lockett for 60 yards multiple times like he did against the Colts. I do believe this is going to be a close game. This is definitely a game of the week contender. I think Julio will show up to remind everybody he's a top 3 receiver in the league. A.J. Brown will continue to dominate, and Derrick Henry is going to have a 100-yard rushing game. That's what I think. So I'm going with Tennessee money line plus 230 and Tennessee to cover 6.5. And the Sunday night game is going to be Ravens against the Chiefs. I do believe that Ravens are going to lose this game, not because there's anything wrong with them. Definitely they have a weaker running back core right now with all their major running backs getting injured, unfortunately, and the losing of Marcus Peters to a season-ending injury. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have another huge game just like he did last week. He almost had 200 yards. He had 11 for 197. Mahomes is going to do his thing. I think there's going to be a lot more running by Kansas City in this game. So I believe Claire Edwards, for all you fantasy owners, should have a good game. I think this is a great position and a pick for only minus 200 on money line and minus 3.5 for Kansas City. I think it's one of the best lines this week. So I would go ahead and select Kansas City minus 3.5. And that takes us to the end of all the NFL Week 2 predictions. As always, toward the end of the show, I would like to give you my 5 lock of the week. This is money line or spread. I believe they'll cover, so you can go with either or. So I am picking my lock of the week for Rams, Buffalo, Saints, Cowboys, and Cardinals. So Cowboys, Cardinals, Saints, Rams, and Buffalo. Those are my lock of the week. I think Cowboys and the Tennessee Titans are great underdogs money line that you can parlay, and win some big money. Again, gamble responsibly. Not that we advocate it, but we're just giving you facts of the numbers that are out there, so you can enjoy if you'd like.